All right.
Okay. This is our second attempt at the recording because we got a minute in, and then Richard was like, "Richard, what are we doing?" And he's like, "We're doing stuff." And we've updated
The stuff
things.
that we're doing is stuff. Yeah.
So if we're really specific this time, I'd say first, you've been doing a lot of outreach.
Yep.
Update on that, and maybe the 8Bond stuff as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, Alex, people have been seeing more and more of Alex around the project, helping out with the comm stuff. So he and I did a test on a new format for the spaces, trying to take it into the kind of podcast direction. What we've been seeing is the messaging we've been doing has been getting a lot of uptake, but the best kind of packaging for that is visuals with talking, some activity. So we're just looking at, how to refine getting out different kinds of stuff that we can get into the kind of current social landscape, and what's working there is short clips. So that was really fun to do.
I was your first retweet, and I enjoyed the content, although I did have to leave after a bit.
Yeah. I think we're seeing an audience grow for that, and we can get into much more depth, and it can be a much more interesting discussion if we take a bit more of a kind of long form podcast style thing than the classic spaces format that people are used to.
I really like. There was one meme you guys came up with. It was like the girls in the car.
Yeah.
It was like a Mean Girls tweet.
Yeah.
I don't recognize the film. Like you look at the actresses and you're like, wait a minute, isn't this 15 years ago?
Something like that.
How fucking old am I?
Yeah.
But it was like, while you guys were shitcoining, we've been building the internet, and it's kind of like, that's actually fucking true. The rest of the crypto space, these fucking shitcoiners, and no idea what's coming.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the pickup at the econ conferences this summer, because we're going around CompSci. We've got invitations to discuss now in Santiago, New York. It's hardcore mechanism design. Yep. So we're going to talk about problems that are 50 years old. And
I really feel like the stuff's coming together now with the kind of, it is just absurd, the kind of avalanche of government overreach, weird regulation coming out, some of which is not even, like the US banning routers that weren't made in the US. I don't think there are routers made in the US except for like high-end.
Oh, the UK as well. They're like, we want to make VPNs illegal. And it's kind of like, fuck you. Fuck you guys.
Well, no, Australia did it, and it turned out like someone mentioned it on a podcast, and Australia was doing the same thing. And I was like, what, really? And it's some reverend something from Queensland who's just trying to hop on what he sees as like a popular bus, right? Mm-hmm. And he's getting legislation put in place to like ban VPN usage.
Yep.
Without any thought to like what that means.
Or he's being manipulated and being used in order to provide cover for something which is it's a fucking priest. They found a fucking priest to go.
Oh, he's like a mega church dude. It's classic. It's classic astroturfing. I think you're right. Anyway, so there's all of that coming together at the same time as I think crypto's introspecting. What's it here for? Right.
The lack of any moral stature on a lot of the stuff, like the MEV stuff. Even the people that are focused on solving it, they're like, how do we actually maximize the extraction for this part of the network?
Right.
They're not concerned about ripping off users. They're concerned about inefficiently ripping off users. Anyway, we should probably tell people what we're doing. If you've been on the arcade, you've probably noticed a bit of instability over the last week and a half. It's being sorted out. It's because we had this arcade refactor.
Yep.
And this is part of our ongoing, we're going back to the older applications, especially the ones people are using, and we're breaking them in order to improve them.
Yes.
It's mostly fixed. We're now on some Rust backend stuff as well. So it's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
But
I think one of the things we weren't sort of aware of there is like we have really upped our internal standards on where we want applications to get to, and it's a combination of things. I think that's gone even further with availability of AI tools to really help with polishing front ends and that sort of thing. AI, in my kind of view of it, like helps us get to where you got to for free with the big Web 2 toolkits, the ones that kind of forced you into client server models, right?
Stuff starts looking a lot more client server.
Yeah.
A lot of the changes for things like the arcade, it's like what's going to happen is you can create the NFTs now, right? But we're going to add an option to actually create something as a token, right? And what's the utility of a token? Well, one of the utility is that as soon as it's a token, we can show it in the wallet. We can make it gameable in things like games. Use your token in this game of poker.
Yeah.
So we needed to revamp the arcade. So, one big problem with Web3 gaming is the experience has been total shit. You invite a friend over, and where are they? Where are you? You're communicating off Saito, and you've got the chat, and they say, "Oh, I'm on Saito in the chat," and you're like, "What are you looking at?"
Yeah, which
you have no idea what they're doing. And man, users, as soon as you give them a UI that they can do anything with, they start clicking on random stuff. You're like, okay, I just need you to click the invite, and they don't like, I can't see an invite, and it's like, well, where are you? And I didn't like they've stumbled from arcade somehow into like Vault, or they're creating an NFT or something, and it's like join the poker invite. Yeah. So this is the kind of stuff that we're fixing. There's now like, it's a lot simpler. There's a landing page. We're going to put chat on it. It's going to be easier to start Web3 games. This is the kind of stuff that's happening in the background with the arcade refactor. We have one maybe going for Red Square at the same time.
Well, back
on that. Like, I think we've lost some of the usability of the last refactor with the threads and the display.
Right. Well, and also things like, there's a bunch of stuff across the system, like notifications, where it was developed as a part of Red Square, but really what we've seen all along is that something like that should be its own entity, so that it can, be a notification of whatever, and all apps can have notification functionality if they just want to share it into the stream, right?
Well, it goes back to that Mean Girls tweet, because like that actually, I kind of felt like should I retweet this, or is it
too passive aggressive?
Too much passive aggressive against like the bullshit in the space, because there are a lot of people, they consider themselves well intentioned, and all they're doing is shitcoining. Anyway, one of the strategies that we've got, and the reasons we're doing this, as Richard said, is like Red Square, you've got notifications and it's loading profile, and it's a more complicated app, but it's harder to integrate the stuff because it's like loading a bunch of transactions and it's managing them. So we're kind of moving away from that, where Red Square is going to be managing the tweets, and notifications is going to be managing notifications. But all of this stuff is happening at the same time. But part of the goal is to bring it together. So this was the Mean Girls thing. It's like notifications, like bringing social media into the arcade, bringing tokens into the arcade, bringing tokens into the games, bringing the store online, which I think people have been waiting for. That's been taking quite some time.
Well, I think, we were having a discussion about it yesterday, and for me, the thing was actually thinking through, like, we've been kind of come back to the store UI on the back of having built applications, Vault and Stack, namely, that produce NFTs, right?
We need a place. Stack is improved as well. There's a bunch of bigger changes there. The biggest thing I think that's holding us back is, okay, I publish a private blog post. How the hell do I get my NFT? How do I create the NFTs, and how do I get them to people? So the store kind of needs to be done with that. That's where the integration needs to happen. Like, it's got to be like, looks like you don't have any access keys for your blog. Would you like to sell some? Or list them online so someone can
and people have noticed that a little bit with Discovery not maybe being there for Stack, but it's because we want to roll it into this NFT distribution thing, so that you can have paid invites, different
well, it's
modes.
Also it's a peer-to-peer network. What are you guys talking about Discovery? If you have a centralized, if you're building centralized search for a decentralized network, you're doing it wrong, right? Like the Stack design is its Substack, but you control the access keys. No one even necessarily knows, like, we could build that kind of indexing, but the focus is actually on the core tech, and rolling out the stuff that doesn't exist elsewhere. And there's tons of centralized blogging platforms. There aren't any that you could run in North Korea, and publish just by sending a transaction through email to talk to people outside the country.
You put on a USB stick and smuggle it if you wanted to.
We were talking earlier with email about store listings, right? Like, one of the reasons we want to get this really well done is not only because it needs to support all of these types, and it needs to be trivially easy to use. And there's a couple of tech things we're doing Rust work that will improve that, but also because a listing is just a transaction. So it's not like Shopify is not standing between you and the ability to sell stuff.
Yeah.
And
if you list something for sale, someone else can actually help display it for you if they want to put it up in front of their users. Like it's a very different kind of system. I think people are just so used to having, going cap in hand to Amazon or whatever. That's what you do, right? They're not sort of seeing that it's a very different logic, which is why we've taken a lot of time, I think, with the store, because we keep going back to these different, making sure we can package anything and give it that distributed, decentralized
NFTs, physical merchandise, the smart NFTs. We kind of haven't been pushing those because we want the store up.
And tokens, right?
And tokens,
right? So if you've got the thing where you can buy 1 or 2 or 3 socks, you don't want exactly the same interface as if you want to buy amounts of tokens, right? So you got to think through how does all that work?
I'd say that's one of the hard areas where we've needed to go back and like the Rust. One of the things, if you've been developing, you'll notice is that the JS Rust pipeline, there's basically 4 pieces to it. We've got Rust, which is core consensus. This is like, it's a beautiful piece of code. It's 80% really well organized and 20% like, let's put the function there. We are cleaning it up now. But then that goes to WASM, which is like a binary bundle that is exposed to user applications, and then there's this Saito JS layer that interacts with it and then exposes its own interpretive layer to the app. So there's 4 layers. We're going through a process now of streamlining a bunch of this stuff. So this is a lot of work that's, I think, hidden from public sight, but it's really important because it not only reduces the code and the complexity of the code, but it means if you're coding a module or anything that needs Rust, it's going to be right there on the app object. You're going to go app core, and you're going to be able to call essentially Rust functions. And a lot of the cruft in the middleware, you can kind of hide from people. These are the 2 functions you need. So this stuff is happening as well. We need this stuff for the store as well, because we got V1 and it was all working. But one of the problems we had is if you're selling a token or you're selling something with units, version 1 required you to upload, like, if you want to sell 1,000 units, you got to upload 1,000 separate NFTs. And we're like, well, it works, but no one is going to list 1,000 NFTs. And it's like, okay, well, do we build middleware that will help you automatically upload like 100 and split and stuff? And it seems like it's a good solution, but it's like it's not the solution.
No, we need, in the end, to be able to handle it like if you're using the NFTs as a token, then it's got to work like a cryptocurrency. So you've got to have, I give you some and I get the rest back as change, and then
or like buying cat food to cite something personally relevant on Taobao. How many do you want? I've got 100 available. And then the store just takes care of it, splitting and merging as needed. So that's one of the big changes on the back end that's holding up the store. And, also we've had people pulled away, and, there's all of the stuff that needs to happen to get it ready. We are working on it. I think we can probably share some UI updates next week.
Yeah, so there's a current cut in staging, but we've taken that and we're like rethinking it. So I think hopefully next week we'll start seeing the reworking on that.
So
I think we should probably wind up. I think we've covered everything except just to say to people the Ape Bond is still going on. That's a great way to support the project and get us some cash. So that's been really picking up. And so, actually kind of in the second phase, we may have 3, we may have 4, depending on how much people come in and make use of it. But it's been a really good way to get, a few hundred people really engaging with the project, and I think that's accelerating. So it's quite an exciting.
I think thing. We mentioned if you want to help and you can't code, or if you can code, here's also 2 really easy ways to start. First, if you've got an app idea, write the UI out on paper. Like I know someone, I don't want to dox them. They're thinking about like VPN approaches, because I think what we're seeing with the AI work that's happening is because it's making the UI is the first thing you develop, and then we can really easily plug in the back end. But don't be turned off if you perceive that, like, we're talking about Rust and we're talking about awesome. If you want to build an app on Saito, we'd love to help you.
Yeah.
But that's the first thing you got to start with. Start with UI. Decide what it looks like, what buttons are there. Try to get the simplest version of something.
Yep.
And if you bring it to us, we'll help you get it out the door. And the second thing I was going to say is the wiki.
Mm.
The wiki, we're about to launch dynamic modules more robustly. So,
Mhm.
like, visit the arcade, you're going to get the really popular ones are going to be pre-installed, but the bigger ones that less people play, it's going to be a click to install process.
Yep.
We're turning the wiki into the App Store. We could really use help from people going through the wiki and saying, look, I'm just average Joe. No one would say to it's average Joe, but you know,
Yeah.
like this is what's screwed up about the wiki, and give us some help, because that's going to become part of the front page, especially if the teaser happens, because we're going to try to teach people. A lot of people, they visit Saito and they're like, it's an app. We're going to teach them actually you can drag and drop apps into it, and
Yep.
this is the expected experience, because we're hoping this is also going to teach people, especially devs, wait a minute.
Mm.
That means I can develop something and email a transaction to someone.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, we're using the Saito network with an app that no one knows about.
Yeah.
And that's super powerful in these days of like government conspiring with organized religion to foist VPN illegality on people, you know?
Yeah, well, by astroturf planning by companies, yes. I mean, just to be able to have an ad storeless way. Any way you want to share a URL, people can get the file and just drop it into their Saito distribution. And again, they don't have to be on your node. They don't have to be anyway. The network will find you. So it's you can have two users and they're in totally different places using an app that no one else actually even knows exists, if that's how you want to roll. So cool.
So this was not as chaotic as it could have been.
No. I'm not sure about the level of planning next week, but I think this was good to get this out. I think people get the sense that we are really, really busy with things, and it's an exciting time. So thank you for sitting through this if you got to the end. And yeah, remember to stay on Red Square and the other socials and keep informed.
Yeah, report bugs if you run into them, because it helps us. We had as part of the upgrade, we had these sync issues with the blockchain because of changes 2 weeks ago to peer management.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like sometimes things roll out and we think it's sorted, but there's an edge case, and it's like those cases were
just let us know. Yeah. And thanks to the ever patient node runners, by the way, for that.
if you were visiting Saito with a browser that was more than 2 weeks old, there were some edge cases you triggered that we hadn't, because we were just and we were usually pretty up to date. But
yep. All right. Well, thanks everyone.